This week's talk is called The Questions Matter More Than the Answers. And I got a quote to start off with. Einstein said that you cannot solve a problem with the same thinking that created the problem. And we all know that quote, and we all, think about that quote, but what does it really mean? I mean, what is the heart of what he's saying there? I think that what he's saying there is that the answers live in an unknown place. The answers live in where we have yet to go. They don't live in the same place of what is already known to us, where those problems have already developed. And the thing about the unknown is it makes most of us very, very, very uncomfortable. So one of the things that I've developed for myself is questions. Knowing the right questions and then being willing to live with those questions, not being so quick to jump to answers. Because we are a species that likes to know. And in that sense of liking to know, we are quick to jump to the very first answer that gives us any sense of relief. Maybe you've experienced that. Jumping to an answer simply because it was like, oh, thank God, this work looks okay. I think this will work. I'm doing this. I have twice, more than twice actually, in my life, got to a place where I had no clue what was going to happen next. And instead of rushing in, I forced myself to stop and sit. Because one of the things that I have learned is that if I can get to the right questions, the answers will evolve. And so what are the right questions? One of the questions I keep very present in my mind, especially when I'm feeling overwhelmed, is what is most important to me right now? When I am emotionally distressed, it is really helpful for me to get to the question, what is most important to me right now? And not be so quick to jump into an answer about that. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've experienced this, but for me, sometimes it's the quietest voice within me, not the louder ones that are screaming, that are the best ones for me to listen to. But to get to that quiet voice, to get to that voice that speaks from that deeper place, that place, one of my favorite sayings that I came up with is truth is only truth if it roots all the way down. Well, that root that goes all the way down, what do I mean by that? Well, at the root of real truth is love, is wholeness, is peace, poise, and power. All the things we talk about in our identity prayer. So if the voice I'm listening to doesn't root down to peace, poise, power, and love, then it is not truth. It's simply the loudest voice yelling within me. Now, maybe you have had that situation where you have several voices screaming at you at once, all within your own head. That doesn't mean you're schizophrenic or have split personalities. It just means you got a lot going on in here. I know I do. And so one of the things that has worked for me is my willingness to stop, not take action, and wait. Not impatience, as I spoke about last week. I don't believe in patience. I believe in trust. I believe in perfect and right time. And if you want to hear more about that, listen to my talk from last week. But what I'm talking about here is getting to that place of trust that as I sit in the question. Another question I ask myself on a regular basis is, who have I come here to be? And am I expressing that? And if I don't know in the moment, because whatever circumstances have thrown me, I sit and I wait and I am not so quick to action. I am not so quick to jump on an answer. I find the longer I can sit in the unknown, in that very, very, very uncomfortable place of the unknown, the deeper the answers come. Stillness. There is such great power in stillness. The willingness to sit with a question. Now, I'm giving you examples of questions that matter to me, but you would need to come up with the questions that matter to you. One of your questions might be, what matters to me? What matters to me most right now? What matters to me or you most right now, in whatever the circumstance is? Now, sometimes the answer does come quickly. Sometimes it's a critical situation. I mean, one of the funniest parts for me about myself is the more critical the situation, the clearer my mind gets. I'm not one of these panic guys. I'm one of these guys that gets really clear quickly when there's a crisis. It's like, boom, I got it. This is what needs to be done. And that has always been interesting for me, that because it's so hard when I don't have a crisis to get that same kind of clarity. It has taken a lot of meditation, a lot of sitting, a lot of getting to know myself on deeper levels to where is that voice? Because I know that it's not that it just shows up in a crisis. I know that the voice of clarity is not only available when I'm in crisis. It's available all the time. I'm just not hearing it. Maybe that's true for you too. So what I have found is my spiritual practice of allowing myself to get still, allowing those louder voices to say whatever they need to say, but not acting on them. Instead, allowing the time to pass and trusting that at the perfect and right time, I will hear the voice that is roots down into truth and allows me to take the action that is truly mine to take. Having followed this particular path for a number of years now, there's a few things I've noticed. I rarely walk down a dead end. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I walked down a dead end without knowing it. And part of that is, and so I haven't had to restart in years, because I have been clear that each step has led to the next step, has led to the next step. There is a building block of life. There is a foundation that grows out of the innards of who you are when you allow yourself to listen to the path that is guiding you through the right questions. So you might want to ask yourself, am I asking myself the right questions? Are they deep enough questions? Questions that speak to the heart and soul of who you are. Now, does that mean that there's none of the other kinds of questions like planning and strategies and all that stuff? No, I'm not saying that those other questions don't matter. I'm just saying that there needs to be a GPS, a guiding light, where all strategies and all other stuff comes out of. I'm saying that there is a basic premise in each of us, a basic heart, a basic soul, a basic reason for being of what we have come here to be as well as do, that is speaking to us every moment of every day. And so I would say to you, take the time. Many of us have incredibly busy schedules. So taking the kind of time I'm talking about is hard. But what I have learned is my productivity. I mean, I get done an extraordinary amount of stuff in a small amount of time when I'm willing to wait to know exactly what it is I'm supposed to do next. I can have days where I get absolutely nothing done if I'm simply moving to move. Maybe you experience the same thing. If you are experiencing days where you are just like, feel like everything's an obstacle and everything's a fight and nothing's getting done, that's a day you didn't take the time, but somehow thought you didn't have the time to sit and find that deeper place in yourself. Because every time I try to rush, every time I think I'm slammed, I get way less done than on those days when I'm willing to sit and come from a place of center. The questions is what guides me, not the answers. The questions. If you find the right questions for yourself, the deep enough questions of who you have come here to be, what is it you need to do now, who it is you need to be now, what matters most to you now, and what is the guiding force in your life. Those things will percolate up in the silence once the screaming voices subside. And if you're somebody who thinks those screaming voices never subside, I can tell you that if you sit long enough, they do. They absolutely do, in the perfect and right time. Within you is everything you need to have a beautifully guided, navigated life. Everything. To be fulfilled fully. And it may take you on a journey that you least expected, that has nothing to do with what you thought. Or it may take you on a journey that's exactly what you thought. Either way. Now, I just want to be clear in one thing. Does this mean that if you follow this way of being, your life is easy? No. I want to be clear about this. It doesn't mean there won't be obstacles. It doesn't mean there won't be hard work. What it does mean is you will have more assurance that it's yours still to do. You will be coming from a place of strength so that when these things happen, you have the confidence to know, I can get through this, whatever it is. It feels very different when you're following that voice, rather than sitting in a place of doubt and unknown and uncertainty. Without that you can do. You can live a life without ever in doubt or uncertainty. That's possible. So that whatever comes up, you are clear, this is yours to take on and yours to do. Ask the right questions. Go deep enough within yourself. And that guiding GPS, that guiding light within you, will take you through whatever storms come your way. And the sunshine beyond it will be extraordinary and miraculous. Thank you. I love you.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.